Hi there, it's Rorkalos again. So one of my viewers requested that I do Tearlaments test hands to showcase the new version of the deck I'm playing. And I figured, why not? Let's do it. Now, I don't know about you all, but I always like to do a pile shuffle followed by 3 riffle shuffles before handing the deck off to my opponent. Don't ask me why, it's just superstition, but it seems to work. So why change it, right? In the meantime, I'd like to thank everyone who's been watching my videos. Your support, your feedback, and your kind words are very much appreciated. I'd also like to say that the goal for this video is not to show you exactly how you should be playing out your hand. Rather, I want to showcase the goals that you should have when building a post-ban list Tearlaments end board. So let's pretend my opponent has cut in half, and we'll draw our starting hand of 5. Keldo, King, Perla Rhino, Nessie, and Tearlaments Kashtira. This is a really strong hand. We'll start off by getting some searches. King will search Polly, and Perla Rhino will search a Siren. Normally I would grab Kashtira Tearlaments, but here I already have it. Now we'll activate Siren. And we could pitch Kashtira Tearlaments or Keldo. Keldo facilitates redoer plays later on, should our mills whiff. However, Kashtira Tearlaments can be used as an additional extender. I'm going to choose to send a Keldo because a Shuffler in graveyard is better than a Shuffler in hand. And while a Time Thief redoer line can be nice, the main purpose with my turn is going to be to maximize my mills. Fenrir, Agido, and Metanoise. Metanoise has no target, but milling Agido is very nice, and milling Fenrir isn't bad either, as now we have something to banish with our Tearlaments Kashtira. Scream, Mali, Merli, Mudora, and King. We'll trigger Scream and Merli. Now you have a choice about how to order your chain links now. We used to chain block our Tearlaments names, but now that the copies are limited, it might be beneficial to have the copies not stacked to the bottom of the deck. That being said, that's something that applies more at the end of your turn. And so for this case, I'll do Chainlink 1 Merli and Chainlink 2 Scream. Since we have not milled a Sulliek yet, I will go ahead and search for one. You always want to search a Sulliek and mill a Sulliek on your turn. This maximizes the efficiency of the card. Other choices are, of course, Tearlaments Crime or Metanoise. So in this case, we can fuse with King of the Swamp and make a Rorkalos, or we can fuse with the Siren on our field for Garura, and then activate Malicious to have a Beatrice play in under 5 summons. I'm going to go ahead and do the Beatrice line. I'm always prioritizing making Beatrice, and even though leaving the Siren on board is nice for redoer plays later, I currently don't have access to a level 4, and I will not have access to a level 4 unless I specifically am able to search a Rhino Heart. On res, we'll activate Mali. I will overlay now for Beatrice. I will activate Beatrice, and I'll send Cal back. Kelbeck will be chainlink 1 and Garura will be chainlink 2. Draw 1, it'll be a right sus, and we'll mill 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Tearlaments Kashtira will trigger, allowing us to mill 2 more cards. Siren will trigger, and that'll allow us to fuse into Rule Kalos. So we have a choice here. We could trigger Nessie, or we can activate Tearlaments Kashtira. I'll activate Tearlaments Kashtira, and I'll banish another copy of Tearlaments Kashtira from my graveyard. Because we play Crime, there's a chance that we'll mill it, and so we'll be able to add it back to our hand if we banish a Tearlaments monster. Our mills will be Halfness, Denier, and what do you know it, Crime. These are actually the best mills I could have asked for. We'll trigger Halfness 1 and Crime 2 to add back the Tearlaments Kashtira we banished. Halfness and King of the Swamp will make Lubellion the Searing Dragon. Lubellion will trigger, discarding Nessie for cost, shuffling back our banished Mali and the Denier that we just milled to make a Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer. Bet you haven't heard that name in a while. On a new chain, Nessie will trigger and search out our last remaining danger, which is a Danger Bigfoot. I will link off Tearlaments Kashtira and Lubellion for Cross Sheep. Set the Celiac in our hand and pass it off to my opponent. Let's take a look at all of the interactions we have here. We have access to both shufflers in our graveyard. We have DPE, spot removal, effect negation, special summon negation, guaranteed fusion, extension via cross sheep, and of course, our Perla-Rhino for another form of spot removal. In our hand, we have a Tearlaments Kashtira for further mills on our opponent's play, as well as to turn on our Tearlaments traps should our Rule Kalos and Beatrice be outed. And that's the end board. Now, while I shuffle the deck again, I want to talk a little bit about Winda. As I mentioned in my deck profile, Winda's a fantastic card. She's a floodgate, and as a floodgate, she will win you games. But if you are going to play Winda, I strongly recommend that you do not make Winda on your first turn. You're much better off making Winda over the course of your opponent's turn, as they're trying to already play through the interruptions that you have established. There are a lot of things that can happen to a Winda if you just end on Winda pass. She can get impermed. She can get Book of Eclipsed. Special Summon Fenrir contest Winda by itself. If you make Winda on your opponent's turn, as part of your layers of interruption, you're forcing your opponent to play into an awkward situation. Think of it like flipping Rivalry in the standby phase versus waiting until your opponent commits an undesirable monster to the field. Now our next hand is Celiac, King of the Swamp, Planet, Jack, and Planet. This is not as strong of a hand as last time, but we'll begin by getting some searches off just like before. In this case, I'm going to search Rhino Heart. The first thing I'm going to do is activate Danger Jackalope. Number 1 next to the deck, number 5 next to our extra deck, 6 we reroll. And shoutouts to the Junk Synchron Dice and everybody at Wolf Grounds. Five, that hits Sulliek, the second best scenario. Sulliek triggers, and I will search a Tearlaments Kashtira. We'll activate Kashtira Tearlaments and banish the Sulliek, triggering Kashtira Tearlaments to mill 3, hitting Rhino, Siren, and Bigfoot. After some careful consideration, I've decided not to trigger the Siren. Instead, I'm going to normal summon Rhino Heart, sending a Hofness and triggering it in order to make a Kaleido Heart. Planet will trigger to pop Kaleido Heart will trigger to send Scream, and then Scream will trigger to search for a Sulliek. I will link off Jack and Tearlaments Kashtira for Cross Sheep. And set Sulliek. Now, this is a fairly weak end board, because all we truly have is the effect negation from Sulliek. That said, we do have a King of the Swamp in our graveyard, so our Kaleido Heart can convert into the additional fusion of a Rule Kalos, but our Cross Sheep has no targets to summon that can get us value. But that can change. If we make the risky play and activate Primeval Planet Raitsos to search another Tearlaments Kashtira before ending our turn. We won't activate it this turn, but we'll have access to it on our opponent's turn. So let's assume we pass it to our opponent, and during their main phase we activate Tearlaments Kashtira. We'll mill Denier, Agido, and Mali. And suddenly I feel a lot better because once you hit Agido and Kelbeck, you're really off to the races. Speak of the Devil, we hit Kelbeck on our Agido mills. We can trigger Scream and Merly to search and fuse, as well as Kelbeck to mill an additional 5. And now we've hit Hofness for an additional fusion and Diviner, so that now our Cross Sheep can trigger, special summon the Diviner, and the Diviner can send either Madura or Keldo to give us access to Graveyard Shufflers. Now that was certainly a bit of a gamble, and there's definitely a casino aspect to playing Tier. But I would argue that is how you want to be playing the deck now. You need to maximize the mills on your turn and your opponent's turn to truly get the most out of this deck. So as risky of a play as it was to activate Raitsos and search for Tearlaments Kashtira and not end on Perla Rhino, it paid off in the end. Now while I'm shuffling for the third time, I'd like to talk a little bit about the Grapha Fusion versus Lubellion and DPE. Now, they're certainly not mutually exclusive, and you can choose to play both of them. That being said, Lubellion and the Grapha Fusion both compete for your precious resource, King of the Swamp. I am going to choose to play one over the other. For right now, I will be testing Lubellion and DPE versus the Grapha Fusion. Whether or not it's better remains to be seen, but I'll keep you guys updated. Let's draw a new hand. So, we have double Mali, Denier, Jackalope, and Sulliek, and I honestly thought about editing this out. This is a really bad brick. But let's play it out. let's see how far we can go. This turn always starts by activating Jackalope. 1-5 reroll. 5. So we hit a Mally, not the worst, not the best. And we'll draw a Nessie. That's not bad. Activate Nessie. 1-4, 5-6 reroll. It's a 3. Denier. Okay, again, not the best. But we draw a Diviner. And now suddenly the hand is really opening up. We'll normal summon Diviner, activate its effect, and send a Negito. This play is very weak to Ash or Imperm, but sometimes that's just the hands you're dealt in Yu-Gi-Oh! Agito will trigger to mill 5. Scream, Nessie, set rotation, King, and Fenrir. Not that great. But we'll trigger Scream. And we could search either Meta Noise or Crime. Meta Noise guarantees us a fusion. But I think in this situation, I'm going to search Crime as it's a stronger negate and it can get that dead Mally out of our hand, which won't be relevant right now, but will certainly make our follow-up stronger. We'll link the 2 of these off for Dark, and then we'll link Dark and the remaining body for Sprined. Sprined will trigger to send Merly, and then Merly will trigger. And with this hand, I'll choose to make a Kaleido Heart. Just because it can generate more follow-up than Rule Kalos, and what we're lacking right now is follow-up. We'll set Celiac and set Crime and pass it off to our opponent. And that's about all we got. So sometimes you're going to draw hands like that, and your end board's going to be very weak. But I hope that showcasing this worst case situation really highlights the importance of the danger package in Tearlaments right now. Helping you unbrick hands is invaluable to ensure that you always have a playable line. And that's the end of the video. So I hope you enjoyed. I am very thankful for all of your comments, and all of your feedback is very much appreciated. I have some videos planned for Master Duel and Exosister content, so look forward to those. And to everybody who's watching and to everybody who stuck it out till the end, thank you so much. See you next time. Bye-bye.